Fleas and ticks are the worst enemies for dogs and their owners. With NexGuard, you have the weapons to fight effectively. NexGuard is an FDA-approved flea and tick killer in a beef-flavored soft chew. It is manufactured by the same makers of Frontline Plus. NexGuard offers safe and effective protection against flea and tick infestation for at least 30 days. The delicious beef-flavored chew makes it easy to administer to your dog. NexGuard is designed to treat and prevent flea infestations and to treat and control ticks in dogs and puppies 8 weeks of age and older. NexGuard is available in 4 sizes of beef-flavored soft chewables. Each size is color-coded and contains 3 tablets. Available at Reimer's Feed Mill countrywide. Visit us at your local branch. Reimer's Feed Mill, where growing believes.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coop Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road, just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
Did you know that with the advancement in medical treatments, you have a greater chance of surviving a critical illness? But these treatments can be quite expensive and lengthy, resulting in significant financial loss. But with a Sagicor plan, we can help you to focus more on your recovery and not your finances.
I had a really good time tonight.
So did I.
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor. Learn more at sagicorlife.com.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Matters. Carla Barnett, PhD, CBE, is an economist by profession with many years of executive, professional, and consulting experience in Belize and in the wider English-speaking Caribbean. She has worked at multiple levels of financing institutions, from state level as the Financial Secretary of Belize and the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank to regional level as Deputy Secretary General of CARICOM. Aside from her passion for economics, Ms. Barnett has also pursued a career in politics, to which she has been appointed to the Ministry of Labor, Local Government and Rural Development. Ms. Barnett does not stop there, as she also is a strong supporter of social causes and give her time to the YWCA, working on various projects. Due to all the successes of her endeavors, Ms. Barnett has been acknowledged as a Commander of the British Empire and has received various alumni achievement awards from her alma mater, SCA, SJC, and UII. Ms. Barnett, good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I am just fine. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Excellent, Dr. Barnett. In the intro, we learn a lot about you, but now we want to get into some of the small details. Like, where did Dr. Barnett grow up and what was her family structure like?
In Belize. My dad was a policeman. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she did sewing to contribute to family income. So that's how we grew up. Because my dad was a policeman, we traveled and lived in different parts of the country. So I've lived in pretty much all of the districts in my childhood. But that's how we grew up. There are four of us children, and That's my dad passed away a few years ago. But my mom is still alive and she's 93 years old.
Good. You said that your dad was a policeman and because of that you traveled all over this country. Did you then go to elementary school all over the country as well?
Yes, I attended St. Joseph School in Belize City. I attended school in Dangriga, primary school, and I ended up my primary school years at Holy Redeemer. So I did my elementary school in 3 different schools.
What was that experience like, having to adjust to the new environment ever so often at such a young age?
As a child, new things are exciting, so it didn't bother me as a child. When it's time to pick up, you pick up and you go someplace else. Looking back on it, I know it must have been particularly disruptive for my mom and the family, my older siblings in particular. But as a young child, growing up, going to a different place was fun.
What made you choose SCA to go to as a high school?
Growing up, everybody knew SCA as the school that you should want to go to. I grew up in a Roman Catholic family, and therefore it was a Roman Catholic high school. And so, it wasn't really a choice. That was where we went. My sister went there, and then I applied and went too.
Did you always have interest in economics?
No, not really. I didn't learn about economics until until I got into sixth form, actually, because remember, this is in the 70s. That's just a long time ago. And when I got introduced to it in sixth form, that's when I decided that's what I wanted to do.
Did you have any mentors at that time that kind of guided you in what your course of studies should have been?
Not really. At that time, at sixth form, it was Mr. Jex who taught us economics, and so we did our courses and did our A levels. At the time, it was A levels, and then when it was time to go to university, I decided to apply to UWI, and I got accepted, and that's how it went. It was kind of lined up in that way. It wasn't a huge issue at the time. I wanted to do it, and I got a scholarship to go. Not a scholarship from government. Actually, it was a USAID scholarship that I got at that time, and I went off to UWI to do economics.
Excellent. What made you decide to go even further to pursue your doctoral degree?
Well, my doctoral degree is not in straight economics. I did my doctoral degree in social sciences. So I normally people when they're bachelor's to master's to PhD, they specialize more and more. So by the time you get your PhD in a subject, you're a specialist in a very narrow area. But one of the things that I discovered as a practicing economist is that I needed to always remember that economics is a social science. And the tools that we learn in economics can be, can disconnect you from real society if you don't take the time to understand what real society is. Particularly at the time when I did my master's in economics, a lot of the econometric modeling was coming up. We were in between the Chicago school and the rest of the neoclassical world. And I needed to always remind myself that we were dealing with people, that when we're talking about consumer demand, it's a demand of people. When we're talking about supply, it's about the production that people do and that they have lives. And so when I decided to do postgraduate work at the level of the PhD, I decided to go back and do a broader social sciences degree in order that I might be able to, particularly since I was interested in economic policy. I believed at the time to understand better how economic policy affected society in a broader way. And so that's why I broadened when I moved beyond my master's degree.
Was there ever a time along the route of pursuing your studies where you doubted your career choices?
Not really, because at the times that I was in school, it was always work that I really did enjoy. I always made sure that I enjoyed what I was doing. And I finished my first degree. I went to work, went back to school to do a master's, went to work, and then went back to school to complete my PhD. And it was always a situation in which I had an objective when I went back. I felt I needed to learn something in order to do something better. And so it was, I never really doubted.
How were you able to manage your workload and your study load and still your personal life and in those times?
It wasn't easy, particularly when I was completing my PhD, because when I stopped working to go do my master's, that's all I was doing. I was doing the master's degree and I wasn't doing anything else. But when I decided to go back to do my PhD, by the time I finished doing all my research and was about to commence the writing of my thesis, I felt that it was time for me to go back to earning a living. And so I went to work, and I was working full-time at the Caribbean Development Bank at the same time I was writing my PhD thesis, and that didn't leave time for anything else. There was nothing else.
What keeps you motivated? What keeps Carla Barnett on her path?
I think understanding that what I do makes a difference to people. That's what's important to me, and a positive difference. I've never been content with just like pushing the paper or, you know, being involved strictly in administration. It's always about how the work that I do affect the people that I come in contact with every day. And so it's about doing that. And as long as I'm feeling that and understanding that the work that I do is impacting positively on people, it's always a good feeling.
What do you attribute that aspect of your life to, that wanting more, that pushing?
Probably the way I was raised. We grew up in a time when children knew that, you know, there comes a time when you have to be responsible for yourself and you prepare. And so we were taught to prepare ourselves to be adults, and to take care. So that I knew when I went off to do my first degree, I was on a scholarship, and that was it. I didn't come from a family where my parents were able to send significant resources to help at all. I had to live within what was there. And the same thing when I went to do my my master's and even my PhD. I was lucky enough to be able to earn scholarships along the way, but I had to be self-motivated, and I had to be sure that I would be able to keep my living in some shape or form, and because there was no depending on family for that, because we weren't endowed, so to speak.
Who do you believe had the most influence on your life, your mother or your father?
Both in different ways. Both in different ways. My dad was a policeman, and in those days, policemen were a little bit different. I like to tell the story of when I was a baby and we were transferred to rural Corozal, and we set out. My father was a policeman in between, I think, 3 villages. He was a policeman in charge, and he didn't have a vehicle. He got a horse. So we had to help feed the horse. It's a different. it's a different. It was a different time and a different way of looking at the world. Nowadays, the context in which you work in the public service is just totally different. The context in which you work as a policeman is totally different. My father had a gun, but it was an old shotgun that he kept in the attic. That's how it was.
Oh, wow.
It was a different time.
It absolutely was. Dr. Barnett, what we're going to do, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, we will learn a little bit more about what you are doing in these days. We're going to take a break and be back.
Me and my Marie shops in Inland Lake.
Me and my Marie Sharp in Indiana.
I'm in Rhonda Beach, California with my Marie Sharp.
Me and my Marie shops in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Me and my Marie shop at Hertfordshire, England.
Me and my Marie Sharps in Taipei, Taiwan.
Marie Sharp, world-class products produced in Belize.
Did you know that it's best to keep the lumber stored in a dry place?
At KT Enterprises, all our wood is stored in an enclosed space to provide our clients with the highest quality.
We allow you to personally select your lumber if you choose, and we deliver countrywide.
Be it deckboard, beams, and imported hardwoods such as red oak and white ash. At KT Enterprises, we provide you with the highest grade in treated pine, construction grade plywood, and imported hardwood, delivered to your door.
We continue to build Belize by reforesting its pine forest. Visit us today at 2.3 miles Iguana Creek Road or give us a call at 671-0114 or 672-0114.
P-Tech has been in Belize now for more than 6 years. We specialize in residential and industrial high-quality glass windows and doors.
I'm Melvin Reimer from Discount Auto Sales. I chose P-Tech windows because I'm quite impressed about the way they're manufactured. These are double pane glasses. They're called low E. That keeps out a lot of the heat.
Check us out at p-tek.com or give us a call at 671-3842. P-Tech Windows and Doors, a leader in its class. New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating, and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because of its perfect portion sizes, and I can travel with it.
Because it's nice and soft and creamy, and it goes smooth on your bread.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because I eat it with my beans. I eat it with my fried jack. And you know why? Because it's nice.
Most of all, when you're on the plane, you know they only give you some crackers, and you could just take one out and enjoy it with Happy Cow cheese.
I'm Miss Baker, and I choose Happy Cow cheese because it goes well with all the stuff I bake.
Happy Cow cheese. Look for it in a store near you. Distributed in Belize exclusively by Emilio Ahmad and Sons Limited.
At Westrack Belize City, we are looking to help you save both your time and money. We've also improved our stock levels to ensure we have everything you might need for your automotive or agricultural needs. Additionally, Westrack has added heavy-duty and industrial parts to keep your trucks and equipment running. At Westrack Belize City, we understand that your time is important, so we want to bring our services to you at your convenience. Now you can simply send us a message on WhatsApp or Facebook, and we will be right there to help with any questions you may have.
I chose Galen because of its strong reputation, great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives you more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
Hello guys, welcome to Friends of Friends.
Friends of Friends Outback. It's the ideal meeting place for any and everyone that's looking to enjoy a great mix of indoor and outdoor comfort while sipping on your favorite drink or eating that tasty meal. They serve all the best in local and international dishes. On Thursdays, it's Mexican night, happy hour all weekend. Fridays, it's wine and dine. On Saturdays, come relax with karaoke tunes, and Sunday is family fun day. The property is equipped with games and other activities to keep everyone entertained and engaged. Friends of Friends also caters to weddings, conferences, and private parties. Visit Friends of Friends at 46 Dewdrop Estate. Follow the signs from mile 11.5 Northern Highway. Friends of Friends Outback, a walking piece of heaven.
Welcome back to Morning Matters. Dr. Barnett in with us this morning. Dr. Barnett, again, welcome back.
Thank you.
Dr. Barnett, you spent some time abroad working in Barbados, working at the Caribbean Development Bank. What was that experience like?
I did 2 stints at the Caribbean Development Bank. Early in my professional career, when I completed the basis for my PhD, I went to work at CDB in Barbados, and that was really exciting because it was the first time I was working with a regional organization, and I was given responsibility for the economic work for several countries. And so I spent a lot of time traveling to these countries, working on the analysis of their public finances, on their wider economy, and also on the projects that CDB was financing in these countries. And so it was terrific exposure, and I got to meet a lot of people in government and in the private sector in those countries. And so for me, it was a really interesting experience, and the exposure was just unmatched. I've worked on a variety of projects over the Caribbean as well, doing things like program analysis for some of the international agencies, and evaluation of programs. One of the things that really, one of the experiences that I've never forgotten is working in Haiti. I, as a consultant, had gone in with some colleagues out of Canada to do some work in Haiti after the earthquake that had destroyed a good portion of Port-au-Prince, and that was a huge experience as well. Learning about the struggles of Haiti and the realities on the ground that country faces still. So for me, that kind of work I really enjoy that kind of work because it allows you to operate at the level of the people that programs are supposed to be affecting. And so that kind of work for me has always been what I really like to do, working at the level of developing programs and projects, evaluating them, and seeing how programs and projects affect the people that are supposed to be benefiting from these.
Is there any project that you are particularly proud of?
You're asking me to go back over a long period of time. One of the things that I really enjoyed doing was right here in Belize, when I had put together a small team and we worked on developing Horizon 2030. That was a huge exercise, and the team that we put together had to go through all of the districts, meet with as many people as possible, talk about the issues that they face, identify how people saw themselves and their communities and the country progressing over the next 10 years, 20 years, and therefore helping to come up with a vision and a framework that could guide policymaking through to 2030. And so that for me was really enjoyable work. not only because of the work itself, but also because it allowed me and the team to traverse the country from north to south, east to west, and meeting with people of all ages, of all sectors, so that was really enjoyable work.
What is one of the biggest takeaways that you get from the kind of work that you do?
One of the biggest issues that we face in the developing world, and this is true in Belize, it is true in the other countries that I've worked with. When public policy is being designed and developed, it has to take into account not only the reality on the ground, but it has to take into account where people want to move from that reality. And that takes a lot of communication. It means keeping the communication lines open as best we can. And that's not something that policymakers do easily or maintain easily, keeping the communication lines open. Because when you keep the communication lines open, you get a lot of questions along the way, and sometimes you don't have the answers on hand. And so this isn't unique to Belize. This is just the way it is. And the more you open to questions, the more you get questions about why things are not moving as fast as they should, and why are we planning in this way? Whose opinion should be valued more, the funder, the beneficiary, or the government? And so there are lots of contradictions that have to be addressed and sorted out whenever you're doing development projects, and so that's a struggle that I've faced in a variety of situations in different countries.
A lot of times, the people on the outside world that are not economists and that are not policymakers could very well be of the opinion that people like yourself just go in there and you make the rules based on the numbers. You make the rules based on either the numbers or a combination of the numbers and the government's wishes. But after what you just said, it seems, I don't know if it's just you, we're hoping that it's not just you, that take the human aspect into consideration.
Is that if you want your policy to be effective, people have to understand the basis on which you make policy decisions. If you want your project to be successfully implemented, then the beneficiary of that project needs to own it. Those are sort of like fundamental understandings that we have to bring to public policy making to be effective. And therefore, I don't know that I am different. I think that's the approach that that I bring, maybe because of my background in the social sciences, maybe my background working with development agencies and going in and evaluating projects and learning why projects work and why they don't work. But that communication with beneficiaries, that communication with people who a policy will impact is really very important, so people understand the basis of policy making and the objective that a particular policy or project may have. If people don't understand, if people don't know, they make assumptions, and those assumptions might not be correct.
Most of the time they're not correct, because everybody have their own wishes and their own wants, and especially if the policies don't meet with that, the people are never happy. You were the first woman to be appointed in many roles that you've played. This must bring you some sense of pride or joy. Is there any other emotion that you would associate with your achievements?
I always tell people that I know, for example, I was the first woman to be appointed at CARICOM Secretariat at that level. And I didn't want it to be taken as if that meant that women had arrived. It was always a situation in which I don't want people to assume that because I was able to meant that the situation that women struggle against was somehow sorted out. So I was always careful to ensure that in the discussions that I was involved in, that I did not make that, and there were times when I would have to say no, not because I have achieved this means that women's position has changed, because it hasn't. There remains a lot of work to do in terms of the status of women in organizations, in government, in business, in society in general.
Do you believe that since your appointment that women have been more integrated into the fields that you have been actively exposed to?
Well, we've seen more and more women come into public life. I don't take credit for that. I think that's a progression that is natural if it is allowed. But I would be the first to tell you that I don't think that the progression has been adequate. I think that women still are in women make up 50% of the world, just about. Women in politics make up maybe about 15% of the world's people in politics. It's not women in business, similarly. Women in academia, you have a lot more women going to university and being educated, and you look at the faculties in the universities in the region and internationally, women are still much less than 50%. So there's a lot that has been achieved, but there is still a far way to go.
Why do you think this is? Could it be that the women are not interested, or they're not given the same opportunities?
You're asking me a question that could take hours to answer. We are raised up in a society in which women are seen to play particular supportive roles, whether it's in the house, the homes, whether it's in the kind of jobs that we are almost streamed into, the kind of courses we take at school. There's a whole structure and process that we grow up in. And some call it the sort of paternalistic view of the world. Some call it, there are a variety of ways in which, but feminist theory points to the structures of society that really are designed to channel women into the roles that they are expected to play. And we have to be willing to challenge those roles. And when I say we, I don't mean only women. Men and women have to challenge those roles. Men have to be willing to cede some of the individual power that they may, and the social and political power that they control. And women have to be willing and able to accept and exercise those roles as well. I don't know that as a society we have reached that. I'm pretty much sure in Belize we have not reached that level of thinking. But I will tell you that one of the most powerful arguments for ensuring that women are able to reach their potential is that, to the extent that you have any group, whether it's a group defined by sex and gender, by race, but whatever group is not allowed to achieve their potential, you're keeping back the society as a whole. If everybody was able to reach their full potential, we'd be much farther than we are right now, and we're not at that level when it relates to the roles that women can play.
You know, some people may say that would be the ideal world. That is just the ideal situation, and the world is not ideal. But what do you think that women, especially in the Caribbean and in Belize, can do for themselves to ensure that they have more prominent position in whatever decision is being made?
What I'm saying, Rhonda, is that that's not a decision that women alone can make. Women can aspire, can reach out, train up themselves, can do what they need to do to be most excellent at the things they set out to do. But it is not too. You need two hands to clap. Put it that way. That's how it is. It's not that women alone make that decision. The society as a whole has to evolve in order that women can play the roles that they are fully capable of playing. And it's in the social structures and the way we come up in terms of our social relations that we have to be willing to see things differently.
As a woman in politics, people may say that the reason there are not as many women in politics is because women don't support women in that field. What would be your response?
And I would say the same thing. Women, even if you had all the women supporting all the women, it wouldn't necessarily mean that it would change. You have to have the men willing to accept the women exercising authority and making decisions around the table at the same time. And I'm not sure that we have that. And then there was a situation recently, our colleague across the political aisle, Dr. Pitts, if you recall, recently wrote a letter to her party leader reminding him of the commitments that they had made. And it was leaked into the media. I don't know if it was a male politician wanting to bring attention to an issue that he would have had to write a letter. He may have simply picked up the phone and be able to get a full audience and be taken properly seriously. And then the response to it was one in which she was seen as it was cast it wasn't seen as her standing up for what she believed in, but was seen as her either making trouble or scolding was one thing, because, we women scold. We don't call attention to wrong. We scold. That's how it's seen. So the actions that women do are judged in a different way from the actions that men take. That's the reality. In politics, men are allowed to do certain things and women are not allowed to do certain things and seen in the same way. That's the reality, and it has to change. It has to change. And that change has to come from both men and women. It cannot only come from women.
On that note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will talk a little bit about Dr. Barnett in politics.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coop Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road, just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
Me and my Marie shops in Lake.
Me and my Marie Sharp in Indiana.
I'm in Rhonda Beach, California with my Marie Sharp.
Me and my Marie shops in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Me and my Marie shop that are Hertfordshire, England.
Me and my Marie Sharps in Taipei, Taiwan.
Marie Sharp, World-class products produced in Belize.
Did you know that it's best to keep the lumber stored in a dry place?
At KT Enterprises, all our wood is stored in an enclosed space to provide our clients with the highest quality.
We allow you to personally select your lumber if you choose, and we deliver countrywide.
Be it deck board, beams, and imported hardwoods such as red oak and white ash. At KT Enterprises, we provide you with the highest grade in treated pine, construction grade plywood, and imported hardwood, delivered to your door.
We continue to build Belize by reforesting its pine forest. Visit us today at 2.3 miles Iguana Creek Road or give us a call at 671-0114 or 672-0114.
P-Tech has been in Belize now for more than 6 years. We specialize in residential and industrial high-quality glass windows and doors.
I'm Melvin Reimer from Discount Auto Sales. I chose P-Tech windows because I'm quite impressed about the way they're manufactured. These are double pane glasses. They're called low E. That keeps out a lot of the heat.
Check us out at p-tek.com or give us a call at 671-3842. P-Tech Windows and Doors, a leader in its class. New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating, and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because of its perfect portion sizes, and I can travel with it.
Because it's nice and soft and creamy, and it goes smooth on your bread.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because I eat it with my beans. I eat it with my fried jack. And you know why? Because it's nice.
Most of all, when you're on the plane, you know they only give you some crackers, and you could just take one out and enjoy it with Happy Cow cheese.
I'm Miss Baker, and I choose Happy Cow cheese because it goes well with all the stuff I bake.
Happy Cow cheese. Look for it in a store near you. Distributed in Belize exclusively by Emilio Ahmad and Sons Limited.
I chose Galen because of its strong reputation, great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives you more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
Hello guys, welcome to Friends of Friends.
Friends of Friends Outback. It's the ideal meeting place for any and everyone that's looking to enjoy a great mix of indoor and outdoor comfort while sipping on your favorite drink or eating that tasty meal. They serve all the best in local and international dishes. On Thursdays, it's Mexican night, happy hour all weekend. Fridays, it's wine and dine. On Saturdays, come relax with karaoke tunes, and Sunday is family fun day. The property is equipped with games and other activities to keep everyone entertained and engaged. Friends of Friends also caters to weddings, conferences, and private parties. Visit Friends of Friends at 46 Dewdrop Estate. Follow the signs from Mile 11.5 Northern Highway. Friends of Friends Outback, a walking piece of heaven.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of Morning Matters. Dr. Barnett, your hands have been full. I mean, considering all the work you have to do. But then you chose to run for politics for the Freetown constituency in 2015. What made you decide to do that?
I guess I had operated at the level of policy advisor, economic advisor, at the level of a straight economist for quite a while, and I felt that it, you know, at that stage in my life, it just transitioning to a different level of public policy making. And so I decided to run. It really wasn't that difficult a decision to make.
The results were not in your favor. Did that deter you from running again?
Well, no, because remember in 2015, when I decided to run, I thought we had a year of preparation, and then the election was called a little bit early. And so, in fact, I only had a few months. So I wasn't really surprised. I didn't really get a chance to even cover the whole constituency when the election was called. And so it was no great surprise to me. I was building up good relations with the constituency, and I got reasonably good support given the short time frame for preparation for that.
Should we expect to see you again on the ballot paper at some point in time?
I don't think so. I think that I've passed that stage. Politics and women in politics, it's not a level playing field. I support the women who are running for politics right now, and that is how I make my contribution. I help them to deal with the issues, and as far as possible try to organize whatever I can in their support, and on election day I'm out there helping. But it at this stage, given all that has happened, I don't think so. I'm in a supporting role at this stage in my life.
Do you think that this gender disparity has an adverse effect on the development of this country?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It's one of the most fundamental reasons why we want why the issue of gender equality is so important, because if it is a fact that we're keeping 50%, and I keep saying we're talking about 50% of our population that is not equal to the other 50%, that has to have a negative impact on our development. And to the extent that we've been able at the level of individual projects and programs to address the specific needs of women, we've seen the development, the positive development impact. And there are people who say, oh, the World Bank and the IDB and CDB are forcing us to deal with the issues of gender. Well, the truth is they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to. We need to understand that we have to, when we're designing a project, ensure that a project is serving the needs of both men and women. Because if we don't, the natural tendency given our social structure is that we ignore the needs of women. Let me give you an example. One of the things that I've been involved in at CDB is the design and implementation of road projects, of water projects, of airport projects. And there's a particular road project in one of our countries that we did not take into account. The institutions did not take into account what the potential impact of the major highway that was being built. And that highway, when it was completed, this was in an Eastern Caribbean country, it actually divided a community in a very what turned out to be a very difficult way, because the people lived on one side, but then they had to go to school and shop and all of that on the other side, and so they had to come back and redo. And the issues, the focus in the design of the project had been on making traffic pass. It wasn't on the social impact on the community, on the family, on how things would work once the highway. And so that's a lesson that that kind of lesson is the sort that we need to internalize when we're doing our development projects. Understand how the things that we are setting out to do impact our community, how our community functions, our families, how it affects the men and the women in the families and the children, because at the end of the day, that's the purpose of development.
One may say that it is not in the best interest of the people that have the power to want to share it or strive for equality for all. What would you say to them? People are comfortable with the way things are. That's sort of like par for the course. And therefore, any change in power structure, any change in social relations is not easy.
to achieve. So it needs, in the old days, we used to talk about conscientization, meaning reaching the consciousness of the people. I don't even know if we use that kind of term anymore, but what it means is that it's awakening people to understand that we all benefit when everybody benefits.
Some people may say, again, that because she's a woman, she feels that we should give her a chance. What would you say to that? Just because she's a woman, for no other reason, what would you say to that?
It's similar. It's similar to in the U.S. There was a backlash when there began to be policies that took into account the fact that African Americans had been disadvantaged, and then when affirmative action to counteract the negative impact of generations of that reality, there was a backlash because people started to assume that every African American person who advanced because of affirmative action. And it's the same that happens when people see women advance. First of all, they assume that somebody must have given her some special chance. It's not. The very notion that women advance because of hard work and determination is often challenged at the root, and it's unfair, and it comes out of that patriarchal thinking.
I think it has a lot to do with how we were raised. You know, your mother used to have different roles for the girls and different roles for the boys. So I think as a society, we have to make sure that our boys and girls get the same opportunities from when they're in the home. They get the same amount of opportunity to have conversation. They get the same chance to go and play ball or play jack. So whatever it is they want to do. But we must never say to them, you know, this is for the boys and this is for the girls, because that is where we start to, we train them in a bad way. So that eventually we end up with what we have now. What do you foresee to be the lasting economic impact or impacts of COVID-19 on Belize?
I think that globally, first of all, we have to understand that COVID-19 has affected everyone. There isn't a place on this earth that's not been affected. We've seen supply chains break up. We can't get our inputs. We can't get our outputs to market. We've seen the labor market being turned upside down. People have lost their jobs, and when the jobs begin to come back, the jobs will look differently because we're now going to be working differently. We've seen greater technology involved because now, because of physical distancing, there's a lot more use, just like how you're 3 months ago, we'd be sitting across a table. But now we're using the technology. So there's a lot that has changed. And even when we get a vaccine and we can say we've conquered COVID-19, a lot of what we're doing now is going to remain in the nature of production and marketing and all that we do in the economic sphere. And so I say to people, learn the new ways, learn to market differently. Everybody is selling on Facebook. Put up a new storefront. You can sell your stuff online. Continue to meet online. Do your business. You don't have to wait until I can go to your office. That office is now in cyberspace. So it's really a different way of producing and consuming that we're seeing, and that will continue. That will be part of the new normal, separate and a part of the public health protocols of washing and masks that will continue for a long time. The new ways of relating in the business place will remain with us for a long time as well, and we have to integrate those into the way we normally do business.
What would be your opinion on the best way for recovery for Belize?
I think that because we're in such a difficult spot from the public sector point of view. Revenues have been cut significantly. We're talking at least 400 million, maybe more than that by the time we get to the end of the financial year. The bottom has fallen out of tourism. We have to figure out how we deal with restarting our tourism industry. People say we have to do things differently. Well, we are figuring out how we do things differently. We also have to be exceedingly careful when we reopen. It's not a matter of if, it's when we reopen for tourism, because we have not fully conquered the virus. The virus is out there. And it's costly in terms of the economy and in terms of health. So we have to be very careful how we reopen to ensure that people are aware of the new protocols, that we have the testing that's necessary, all of those things. But the new ways of the new things that we have to focus on will have to come from within us. It's not anything that anybody can force anybody to do. We have to decide for ourselves within the various sectors how it is that we are going to restart our businesses. There is need for support for business. One of the things that I'm working on with a small group right now is how we're going to support very shortly the survival and the ability of small and medium enterprises to come back into production and marketing as early as they can, because those micro, small, and medium enterprises need particular kinds of support that they would not ordinarily be able to easily access. And so that kind of focus of our policy, that kind of support from government and the international agencies needs to be there. We're working on bringing that forward.
Dr. Barnett, I say thank you for sharing with us today. But before we go, for somebody that's sitting out there that's thinking, just like you, my father is a policeman and my mother is a seamstress, I can't see how I can get my PhD. I can't see how I can be the deputy governor of the central bank or anybody of any great significance. Can you tell them one thing that Carla Barnett did to ensure that she had achieved?
I remain focused. I was not distracted by the things that are distracting. So I remain focused on my education and on my hard work, and I did what I needed to do. I was not afraid to take risks in terms of going off on my own to school. I did those things. And so it's really about remaining focused on what it is you're trying to achieve, and value yourself and remain focused.
For a woman that's sitting out there that's thinking, I want to be X, but I am facing challenge by the mere fact that I am a woman, what would you say to her?
It's very difficult, because I don't want to minimize at all what women face, but you cannot afford to let it hold you down. You cannot afford. I've always insisted on speaking out how I felt wherever, and so people have accused me sometimes of not of saying the wrong things at the wrong time, but so be it. If you have to say to say, but you cannot allow that to hold you down. You have to stand up for what you believe in and make the contributions that you know you can make.
What is next for Dr. Carla Barnett?
Retirement.
Oh, wow. I love it. I absolutely love it. Any final words, Dr. Barnett?
No, just thanks, Rhonda. I wish you the best. You're in an area in the media where you are able to engage and expose ideas, encourage conversation. I support that, and so I wish you the best. And let's see where it goes.
Thank you, Dr. Barnett. I thank you. By God's grace, we will get there one person at a time, one day at a time, one conversation at a time. Again, I say thank you for stopping and sharing with us this morning. Have a lovely day.
And thanks for inviting me. Have a lovely day too. Bye-bye.
I had a really good time tonight.
So did I.
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor. Learn more at sagicorlife.com.